We have a question from Conley. He says this: I'm interested to know what training metrics you see value in tracking. I recall a recent podcast where you indicated a higher body weight tends to correlate with an improved press. Yeah, that tends to be true. That was my knock on when creatine first became popular. Everyone was talking about their bench and squat going up, especially their bench. But if you put on 10 pounds, you really should bench at least 10 pounds more. You mentioned before keeping diaries going back decades. You mentioned before that I kept diaries going back decades, and I was wondering if there's any numbers and or correlation relationships that stand out to you that are interesting performance indicators beyond the usual stuff like body weight, caloric intake, etc. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go right to the toilet here, literally. That's why I push sugar-free, orange-flavored Metamucil so much for my athletes, because one of the metrics I've picked up is my athletes don't compete well with constipation. Constipation is a nightmare for athletes. And of course, if you're losing weight and it's a hot, summer day at your track meet or your football game, you toss constipation on top of dehydration and, you fall apart. There's a good start, I guess. The next thing, and staying in that same realm, appropriate training and preparation for the elements. And the elements can be, I now include plane flights, Uber or Lyft or taxi rides, bus rides, hotels. Of course, I recommend my athletes. This is mine. I didn't plan this, but it's right here. This is my eye mask. It's from Music Cozy. It's my eye mask with Bluetooth earphones. A friend of mine was on a road trip the other day and commented that saved their weekend because the people next to them were so loud, but they were able to ramp up their brain.fm stuff and keep the mask on. And they did a meditation, and the next thing they knew, it was the morning. And the manager even pointed out how inappropriate the noise on the floor was. And the nice thing was they were able to do what they had to do the next day. I always travel with gloves, a hat, a rain jacket, because no matter where I go, there's always a chance it's going to get cold, or you get out of the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, and you go on and you just get that weird freezing after you snorkel or scuba or whatever. I also always travel with these sandals that are great for rocky beaches, and a swimsuit that's also workout shorts. I feel like I'm prepared for almost every season whenever I travel or go to competition. A hat and sunglasses while you're watching one of your friends compete outside and you're competing the next day, that hat and sunglasses might be as helpful for your as all your peaking programs and your magic, this and that. So those are just two basics. Really, when it comes to the metrics in the weight room, I've always thought that whatever the standards are, okay, let's just do the two most basic standards. These are from little Danny John when he was 14. Military press body weight and snatch body weight. Well, I don't want you to have to spend, 5 years snatching body weight. But, I would like to see you, like my hero Glenn Passy used to say, he would try to see how few workouts it took him every year to get up to a body weight press and a body weight snatch. How few, not how many, how few. And then he wouldn't lift for a month and then test it again. And if his numbers dropped down, he'd train back up. And once he got back to those two numbers, he basically stopped lifting, which was, I'm still unpacking that. So it'd be nice to have some basement number and how easy you can do it every year. And it could be something as simple as, maybe some of you, it's a 300 a bench press or a 400 bench or whatever, how easy you can do it, how easy you can get there. I like this idea. I'm working on this idea for the book where there's, okay, here's your peak, but here's this bottom number. For example, one of the things I'm trying to do with my body weight is have a number that if I get to that number, I don't care what I have to do, I won't stay at that. So if I have to stop eating for a couple days sauna every hour on the hour and go for 5-hour walks. Well, that's what I chose to do because the ceiling number, if you don't mind, when it comes to body weight, the number is here, and when it comes to strength, the number is down. It makes sense in my head, and if I'm confusing, I apologize. Let's just say the number for me is 230, and if I jump on the scale and I see I'm 228, that now indicates for me that for the next 2 days, the party's over. Until I get down to 224, 220, 218, the party's over. Maybe down the line, that number might be 220. For me, I don't know. My numbers on the platform have been very good in the past year. But I'm trying to come up with a new set of numbers in the snatch and the clean and jerk. One of the reasons lots of throwers retire is that they start having these performances that are so against the who am I thing. So I'm taking your question, Conley, and I'm kind of running with it. But I think one of the real keys, of course, is to be able to go into a contest with this knowledge that your strength levels are where they need to be easily. Your conditioning numbers are where, if you're going to get ready for a 10K race and the farthest you've ever run is a 2K and you're hoping against hope, to get those other 8K in, I think you're in trouble. But if this is your 70th 10K and you ran, there's a couple races down in Arizona called the 100K races. You ran a couple of those, and it's a perfectly cool day. The temperature is perfect. The weather is absolutely delightful. It's early in the morning. Sun's not going to be a factor. The wind's at your back. It's a flat course. Everybody you know and love is there cheering you on. You have a big party afterwards. You're probably going to run a little better than some guy like me who showed up on a bet. So those are the kinds of things. So elimination, appropriate appreciation of the elements, including the travel elements that come along with it. Having these standard numbers that you easily can overcome. And then from there, we can talk more about the performance some other time. Because once you have all that done, the performance becomes actually quite easy. Hey, great question. Thank you, Conley. Yeah, appreciate it.